It's that time again where I'm introducing you into what I want to talk about for the next couple of months, weeks, years. And it comes with a weird little side quest we have to go on. Welcome to the Zoe Dean Deep Dive. This one's like barely. This one's all deep dives. All questions. So it starts out as I'm sitting getting prepped for the fall, thinking, okay, all right, we're gonna be reading the Zoe Dean. We're entering the Zoe Dean cinematic universe. And at first you might be asking the question, as I was asking, who's Zoe Dean? I mean, for me, she's the author of a good couple of different, like, rich teenage girl series. The A-List as one. Talent. Ooh. The A-List Hollywood royalties, all, you know, she's written a bunch of books, so the question is, like, who is she? And my thought is, well, these books tend to be written by two types of people. People who work in television and people who are Nepo babies. So it's like first-hand experience from the outside as a laborer. Zoe Dean is neither, and both, all at the same time. So, when I started, I started Googling, and I'm like, okay, who is Zoe Dean? Zoe Dean is a highly reclusive, best-selling author of many books for adults and teens. Okay. So, Zoe Dean is a highly reclusive, best-selling author of many books for adults and teens. This is from the back of the book. From Wikipedia says the writer of Talent, the A-List, How to Teach Filthy Rich Girls, which was then renamed Privileged and was then formed into a show on the CW in September 2008. See my CW video. I'm going to warn you right now. If you haven't seen, if you want more, I'll give you more. I gave you more last year. Check out my videos on the WB, the UPN, and the CW from my teen TV series. I go through the history of that and establish my one true enemy, the WB. Oh, I have a Wikipedia I'm supposed to be reading from. Oh, that's why we have the tablet on a swivel. That's what we got a swivel for. Okay, so that wasn't satisfying, so I go to the wiki, and the wiki's like, Zoe Dean is the pseudonym for the creators of the A-List series and How to Teach Filthy Rich Girls, which has been renamed and turned into the TV show known as Privileged on the CW in 2008. Zoe Dean's books are produced by the media packer Alloy Entertainment, which created Gossip Girl, the Click series, and the A-List. So of course my ADHD is peaked. I'm like, well, what's up with Alloy Entertainment? We will get back to Zoe. So now I'm like, in the next, we'll get back to that, but last thing, according to the biography provided by Alloy Entertainment, Zoe Dean divides her time between her house in Beverly Hills and lounging on her favorite small Caribbean islands. In 2006, the New York Times describes Zoe Dean as a pseudonym for a married writing team. The pseudonym has been jointly used by writers Sherry Bennett and Jeff Gottsfield. Put a pin in that. We will return. I'm like, what is up with Alloy Entertainment? I gotta know. don't know, I just got a wild hair in my axe in between bouts of playing Tears of the Kingdom. Zoe Dean books are produced by the media packer Alloy Entertainment. First question, what's a media packer? A media packer just kind of consolidates things that are similar and then advertise them to the public. So Alloy Entertainment is a book packing and television production unit of, enemy of the channel, say it with me, Warner Brothers Television Studios. They produce the books and television feature films. If you were paying attention during the Click movie video, you will see who was a producer, Warner Brothers Entertainment, and Tyra Banks. Also, enemy of the show. So, Alloy Entertainment, according to their Wikipedia page, produce approximately 30 books each year. And they are putting out the bangers on teen entertainment. You know, this is my Super Bowl right now. I love these. Properties you might know are The Sun Is Also a Star, The Sisterhood of the Traveling Pants, Gossip Girl, The Vampire Diaries, Pretty Little Liars, The Lying Game, The 100, The Click, and The A-List. And, monopolies are evil, because if you're paying attention, you know who owns... If you paid attention to my video from last year, you know who owns a stake in ABC Family? Warner Brothers. So between those two, what streaming services? Who owns these things? Warner Brothers owns The Lying Game, and then the CW had The 100. Pretty Little Liars was on ABC Family, but is now on... Okay. So, Sisterhood of the Traveling Pants, I bet you when I watch that movie, we will see that it was produced by the WB. The Sun Is Also a Star. What streaming service is that on? Vampire Diaries CW. Yeah, so, and then the A-List, I don't think ever got any media. We should change that. The Estate of Zoe Dean. Zoe Dean's son, that's like my age. Contact me, let's make a movie. Let's spec a script. Boy howdy, am I in part 2. Boy howdy, am I in over my head. Oh, okay. Back to Alloy. Founded by Daryl Weiss in 1987 as a book packing company, in 1997 they created the 17th Street Productions to specialize in young adult media. My enemy, Defy Media, appears. Defy Media merges with Alloy in 2013. Defy Media is what happened when Break Media of Break.com merges with Alloy Online. Alloy Online is the digital of this. They were Alloy Digital in 1996, the American digital media company that produced original online content for the 12 to 34 age demographic. This is important because in 2013, guess who was between the ages of 12 and 34? So, Break Media. Break Media folds in 2018, taking down Smosh, Clever, and Game Theory. If you remember the iconic video of Matt Pat sitting on the chair and being like, "They've stolen from me," which they did. I'm not defeating that part. That part's funny, but not funny. It's funny. It's funny, interesting, not funny. Haha. But backing up, we gotta back up again. So, for the first 13 years, Alloy Inc. was a holding company for Alloy, a teen-oriented magazine and website by May 1990. By May 1999, they had 1.3 registered users. In 2000, they purchased 17th Street Production and renamed it Alloy Entertainment. Alloy's additional assets included Delia, Jesus, that's a deep rabbit hole. Delia Side Quest. Delia Side Quest, 1993 through the 2010s. A direct marketer at its prime, it was the lead marketing to 10 to 24-year-old females. See the Modern Girls video about that I'll hopefully be able to find. But it's all connected. It's all connected. Alloy splits up into Alloy Digital Networks to hold online properties. Alloy goes ghost form in an acquisition in 2010, pops back up to acquire Smosh, and then generate LA to New York and Clever Media. YouTube, my favorite topic. Smosh, obviously, is self-explanatory. Old internet royalty. Clever is a beloved pop culture news rundown. Very girly pop BuzzFeed. I really enjoyed it. You get, sadly, people like Ryland Adams popping out from it, but also you get Megan Ryland. I know her face. And then the other one. They're all great. And Jocelyn. You're asking me to remember things from 10 years ago. But I was hooked. Okay, so entertainment studio that produce content for distribution across the internet, television, web television, film, video games, mobile devices, and books. In March 2008, they get funded by MK Capital with the co-founding partner Jordan Levin becoming CEO. Evans was formerly the CEO of the WB. To the WB. Continued. ZMC, the company that acquired Alloy Entertainment, gets sold to Warner Brothers Television in 2012. Everything goes back to the WB. Okay. Now that's Alloy. You got that? Pin in it. We've got 1 pin, 2 pin, Delia Side Quest. Founded, back to break. Come close. Come close, my little zillennials. Do you remember what was the top of Flash games and Cool Math games in 2008 while you were supposed to be doing math, but you were really playing Crazy Taxi? Break.com. Founded in 1998, an entertainment and humor website featuring comedy games, flash games, and pictures with the target demographic of men aged 18 to 35, is starting in 2006. They start to have user-generated content. You could pay to be on the homepage, but you relinquish the rights to what you had made under that contract. Break.com paid for content by users $400 and up to $2,000 for animated shorts. Content was booming. In March 2007, they do a weird little misogynistic man show on NBCU. It involved women doing hot things and hosting it. It's kind of, think man show. Oh. Think man show. Think the entirety of the programming of Spike TV. In 2008, Break.com partnered with G4's Web Soup with This Week in Digital, which I remember because I was a big G4 person. Back to Ally. Pull that other pin down. Pull that pin out. Make sure you've got your pin minder for all your pins. In 2013, Alloy and Break Media merged to become Defy Media. Defy was owned in parts by Viacom. It all goes back to media companies. I spent so much time, and I just wasn't aware enough. I spent a lot of time learning about how digital spaces were interrupting traditional media. The traditional media was there. It was under 47 layers of bullshit. But it's always been there. It's always been a monopoly. Bill Clinton, you are never seeing heaven. Good Lord. So, Defy was owned in parts by Viacom, ABS Capital Partners, and Lionsgate. Oh my god, who's Lionsgate attached to? It's a production company. Don't worry too hard about it, Megan. So, Viacom brought in for ownership of game trailers. During this time, ZMC dips in 2017. In 2018, things go downhill. No one's getting paid. Joe from Smosh, if you're old head, he leaves because he's like, things are going squirrely. He leaves as like a CEO position. I think he was still like an on-screen talent. In 28, yep. Jolly Smosh. In July, Defy sells Screen Junkies to Fandom. Friend to the channel, mostly because would this channel even exist if I didn't have access to Fandom? I don't know. In the fall, they try to get Ally Bank to buy them. They don't. Defy shuts down its operations effective immediately. When I tell you this day, you do not understand. I was a college student. I came home from a day and I'm like, I'm gonna watch the 3 billion episodes of Clever News that was released while I was at school. I'm gonna enjoy myself. Up, everyone's releasing videos saying they've been fired. It's an earthquake. It shook up the industry. Philip DeFranco was all over it. He was covering it. He was getting down. Smosh was like, we don't have a job anymore. Employees were laid off, assets were frozen, and YouTube videos were made. Side quests. Smosh got bought by Mythical Entertainment, which is obviously, clearly, Good Mythical Morning, which makes sense because now I see the Twinkie cook food man from Mythical Foods showing up in Smosh things, and I don't really watch any of them. I only consume Good Mythical Morning through like TikToks, because I watched them for like a year when I had a really early morning class, but I could not be awake that early to be mythicaling with this morning, to be good in this mythical morning. But they're cute, they're fun. I love Frick. I love Link. One of them eats pussy. Something like that. Okay.
Not only do I have to question why I call that man Twinkie, he is not Twinkie, but also, like, 2 weeks after I finished filming this, Anthony and Ian announced that they had bought back Smosh, and that they're the owners again of their deal, their baby. So that information is not a fun fact. It's still a fun fact because of how long it was, but it's no longer accurate.
And Defy Media, part of the side quest, is Defy Media stole money from MatPat. Remember, kids, MCNs are Ponzi schemes. I don't remember if MatPat said that or if Amanda from Swell Entertainment said that, but they are. Don't trust them. So, that is Alloy Entertainment. Isn't that crazy? Let's get back to Teen Girls. Alright, I think we pulled all the pins out of the wall. Part 3. Back where we're supposed to be. Back in Teen Girl shit. So this all started because I wanted to know more about the author of the A-List and Talent. New York Times says the name of the married writing team is Sherry Bennett and Jeff Scotsfield. Let's start with Sherry. Cool. I have it. Okay, so so let's start with Sherry. Born in 1960, musical theater major, writer on CBS daytime soap The Young and the Restless, also wrote under CJ Anders and Carrie Austin. Is divorced from Jeff. Lol. She lived in LA. Her dad was a writer for The Twilight Zone. Route 66, and Id Caesars. Some classic television shows, if you will. She also worked on Smallville. She wrote a couple of Dawson's Creek accompaniment books. She wrote a weekly teen advice column through news source. She also wrote a book called Anne Frank and Me. Put a pin in that. Okay. So Dawson's Creek, for Dawson's Creek, that whole deal, Simon & Schuster published a series of 15 mass-market paperback novelizations of the series. Sherry wrote 7 original novels. Writer, and then was the writer. She wrote on some episodes. These were companions to the show. So, in 2001, Sherry Bennett and Jeff Godsfield wrote Anne and Me, based on a play written by Bennett in 1996. I present you. Okay, you remember the movie Martin and Me, where it's like that teen gets sent back in time, and he that teen gets sent back in time, and he hangs out with Martin Luther King, and he's there on the day he's assassinated, and that was like super poignant and all that. All right. Get ready for the white man's version. Anne Frank and Me is a 2001 novel by husband and wife writing team Sherry Bennett and Jeff Godsfield. Inspired by the life of Anne Frank, it follows a teenage girl named Nicole Burns who travels back in time to 1942 and inhabits the body of a Jewish Holocaust victim. The novel was adapted from a play written and directed by Bennett in 1996. The reason I called it the white man's version of this and not like the Jewish version of this is because that is such deep white saviorism. Oh my god. Nicole is a 15-year-old American high school student living in the year 2001, becomes fascinated with a Holocaust survivor named Paulette Leeser Gold, who speaks to her English class. She feels they may have met before during a trip to a local Holocaust museum. Those are just local, I guess. Nicole and her peers are assigned roles as Jewish teens living during the Holocaust. Nicole is given the name Nicole Bernhardt. After the activity begins, Nicole hears students shrieking and gunfire. Jesus Christ! She attempts to run along with the rest of her classmates, but is struck in the back while ascending a staircase and loses consciousness. Nicole wakes to find herself in 1942 Paris in the body of Nicole Bernhardt. Over the course of several months, she begins to forget her life in 2001 and internalizes her new identity. Several of Nicole's friends are non-Jews who oppose Adolf Hitler's policies and protect the Bernhardt family. Following the Nazi invasion of France, Nicole is forced to hide in a rundown apartment in the streets of Paris. From her refuge, Nicole writes a string of anti-Nazi letters for the French resistance. In the letters, she calls herself Girl X. After a website, she runs back home. The Bernhardt family is betrayed, and Nicole is transported to Auschwitz. Aboard the train, she meets Anne Frank. Nicole tells Anne that she has read her diary, but Anne says she left her diary in the attic where she's been hiding. At Auschwitz, a fellow Jew tries to save Nicole by sending her to the labor camp instead of being sent to be killed. Nicole and her sister Elizabeth, who is very ill, are split up, Nicole to live and Lilibet to die. Nicole becomes hysterical and begs to be allowed to accompany her sister. The Germans, after mocking Nicole's devotion to Elizabeth, allows her to go with the young girl. Nicole tearfully thanks him and then walks with Elizabeth to the showers, where they recite the Jewish prayer before dying. Nicole wakes up lying on a bench outside the museum. She finds out other students had set off firecrackers, which sent everyone running. When she bumped her head, Nicole wonders if she really did go back in time or whether it was all a dream. After a few days stay in the hospital, Nicole finds out Miss Lister Gold died overnight. She decides to go to Miss Lister Gold's funeral. Holy... After the funeral, Nicole notices that a letter Miss Lister Gold owned was one of Jen Girl X's letters that Nicole herself had written back in Paris 1942. Nicole realizes that not only did she experience a Holocaust firsthand, but she gave Miss Lister Gold the courage to survive. Mixed to negative reviews calling it hackneyed. So, we've done the wife. Now let's go to the husband. Let's do the husband, Jeff. Born in 1956. Does not vibe with the Confederate flag. He writes a lot about Confederate flags. Writes kids' books and wrote on The Young and the Restless and Smallville and Dawson's Creek. Is Jewish. I personally cannot tell a Jewish person how to reconcile their feelings or produce art about the Holocaust. I can say that that sounds insane, and if someone like, I can complain about all the different things that Kenya Barris has done to black media, and that's the lane I'll stay in. Just know that I think that that is a very interesting story and an interesting way to tell that story. Yep. So, honestly, I'm still in shock. I don't know. I just wanted to know about Zoe Dean, and you know what I learned? And in me. I learned about Anne. Yeah, I'll see you for talent. Talent is, they're pretty... Can you stop, actually? For 5 minutes? Can you not make this about you? Okay, so the talent books. What I did learn is that the talent books are an incomplete series, that there was a 4th book scheduled and it got canned. I'm assuming because they divorced. But I've been reading through this one. I'm about halfway through. It's pretty good. It's pretty on par with the Click books, so I'm excited. And these are all pretty quick, and I'd really like to start reading the A-list. So starting, fingies crossed. Keep our fingers crossed and our hearts open. Fingers crossed, starting in November or so. I might take another break in November, but I might not. But starting either November or early next year, I will be reading one of the A-list books once a month. Like I did the Click books, give myself a whole month to read them, and then, so we're on to the next. I need you to understand, this is how insane that was for me. I've restructured my content for things to come out when they come out, and this should be coming out first week of August, and this is being filmed last day of May. Yeah, I'm just really excited about what I'm gonna make. There's a good mix, hopefully, of everything that if you subscribe to me, you're here for. We have our month of Bratz. That is part of it. You're gonna know this by it comes out, but yeah, we're gonna talk about the Bratz. We're gonna talk about The Bachelor. We're gonna talk about dolls. We're gonna return back to something I want to do. Maybe that's what I'll do in November and December, is finish up the Secrets of My Hollywood Life, to force myself to finish those books. Yeah, I don't know. But I do know that I love a good rabbit hole, and I hope you did too. Check out my videos on the WB, the CW, ABC Family. I think the only one that doesn't stand up is the video about Team Nick, and it's just so far removed via being part of Viacom from the rest of all those. Everyone else is really deeply connected. And it also talks about my favorite subject, religiosity, as a form of building up a money laundering scheme and then abandoning them the moment you're profitable. Yeah. Fuck Warner Brothers. Bye, guys.